in this episode, in this time we're going to spend together, we're going to talk about other strategies, resourcing. We're going to talk about tools and techniques for thriving with ADHD, going further down that line of thought. So if you guys want to know more about thriving, resourcing with ADHD, if you have ADHD, if you're neurodivergent, if you just get a little anxious sometimes, I think a lot of this stuff is for you. Keep watching, and you're gonna get something out of this.
Right, absolutely. Because guess what? The anxiousness doesn't go away. You learn to live within it.
Feel for you.
Yeah,
we'll talk about what that means.
That's a good point. These tools and techniques don't transform you into someone who doesn't have anxiety anymore.
Correct.
And that's kind of that lifetime storms of adults with ADHD. We're living in a world where anxiety...
Well, it's multiplying fast. And it's multiplying in ways that we can't predict. And so all of that's going to tweak our survival instinct. And so that internal restlessness, which is a natural component of adult ADHD because of the underactive nature of the prefrontal cortex and the hiccups that happen in the active working memory center, those things just produce this sense of angst and restlessness. So when we get societal anxiety, fears, political, climate, you name it, I don't care where it comes from. If you don't learn to manage it, it'll manage you. And when it manages you, it shuts you down. You're going to go into fight, flight, or freeze, fawn. You're going to do something, okay, that's going to be way out of balance with who you want to be.
You're going to act from a dysregulated place.
Absolutely. But the reality is about dysregulation with the human being, okay, that's a natural course. That's a natural state from time to time.
Yeah.
Go out of balance, come into balance. It's not a static balance, it's a dynamic balance.
So we don't need to be scared of dysregulation because it is a part of the human condition.
Yes.
To be dysregulated.
Correct. So being afraid of it is kind of like feeding the fear of the fear. It's like, why would you be afraid of something that's natural?
We're going to be dysregulated. Let's plan for it.
Right. And let's know, because really what we're looking for, which is what we're going to begin, a lot of what we're talking about today is resilience. How do you have that neuroplasticity, flexibility in your mind to know that, oh, I almost, fell off that curb, or this could have happened, or that could have happened, but it didn't. And so I spike on my my sense of anxiety or my sense of fear, but you want that, your body will naturally bring that back to baseline. Okay, that's called homeostasis. The body in its natural resting state balances itself on its own. You don't have to do anything.
That's the parasympathetic nervous system?
Correct.
But there's ways we can...
exercise that.
Yeah.
We can work with it in a way that helps us to understand where on that spectrum are we. Okay, and certainly within ADHD-related issues of the emotional and mental stress that are going to throw us out of balance more often, more dynamically, more intensely. I'm absolutely convinced, okay? My wife tells me, okay, I talk about how many years I've been doing this, but not as an ego statement.
How many years have you been doing this?
35 years.
You got 35 years of experience, clinical experience.
Of 99% of my work is working with ADHD.
Yeah.
That's it.
So you're an authority on this.
I'm an authority, but it's a strange little space to be in, because if you're a professional clinician who's treated nothing but one condition, first of all, you're at a high risk for what? Seeing it in everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, the bias effect, which
Yeah.
I've done with supervision and all these other things.
And
manage.
you also have ADHD,
Correct.
so you see people in your own image.
Correct. So what do I have to learn to navigate? I have to learn to navigate balance. I have to learn to navigate those perspectives. But because I've sat in front of this, and with the wonderful name of your podcast, Phails, I failed abjectly my clients in many other ways for the first good 15, 20 years of my career. That was not on purpose. It was not directed. It wasn't meaningful. It was inadvertent. I didn't want those things to happen.
Right.
Okay.
You had the best intention.
Correct.
You just lacked you were building experience. You were building your own models for what this is you're treating.
And I was building them because I had to, because I was in pain and other people were in pain and we couldn't figure it out.
Yeah. We talked about that a little bit. If you guys want to know more about that, go back and watch the 5 questions and the life story where you talk about the kiddo that you met.
Right.
And how he did the memory game,
the memory
just
game.
Like photographic memory. And you realize there was so much value and there was so much going on in there that we didn't understand.
Right. And so in that space, one of the stories I didn't tell in that first one, I believe, is how I stumbled on my own diagnosis of ADHD, which was intriguing because, I grew up, if you read Focus Forward, I grew up with a closed head injury, unfortunately. At 4 years old, I thought, that's where my learning issues came from. But, it was in 1996, I had been treating adults with ADD for several years, and I was in the field for about 6 years treating ADD already. And I took a computerized test for visual and auditory attention that I was going to buy to help diagnose the condition. And I was taking the training for that, and the psychologist, God, I'm just blanking his name, but it'll come back. See, there's the active working memory hiccup. It just occurred.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what happened
come
then?
Back.
So then you were taking this?
I was taking this test, and I couldn't do it in front of 60 other psychologists. I was the one who raised my hand. I'm like, hey, I'll take this test. Watch me. I'll nail this. And I kept missing targets on the test. And he's looking at me going, oh, he's pretending to be ADD. Isn't that funny?
He thought you were pretending to be ADHD?
3 months later, I see him at a national conference.
It's like, I wasn't pretending.
I wasn't pretending. Here are my scores. And he's like, wow.
You got ADD. Or so, it was ADD back then, right?
It was. Well, actually, it just become ADHD.
Okay.
Because we wanted to try to keep it all into one pocket with 3 different types, right? Hyperactive, impulsive, inattentive, and combined types. So I'm a combined type of ADD. I'm severe, but I stumbled on it.
You and me both. I'm a combined type as well.
Right.
It's pretty severe.
Right. So we're talking about, thriving and resilience and those kind of things today. And what I was saying here just a touch earlier is that I'm absolutely convinced after 35 years of sitting in front of this, resilience and resource are your key elements to manage the stress of this. You can strategize yourself to the end of the day. You can take medications. You can understand and educate yourself about it. And all those are meaningful. I don't think they affect the core foundation.
Resilience and resourcing.
Yes.
Can we talk a little bit about
Absolutely.
what does resilience mean within this context?
Right. So resilience is something that is going to stay strong or rebound or have some sense of strength when you push on it. Okay. It's got some strength to it.
Yeah.
So resilience in this case, from an ADD point of view, is I have anxiety. I have internal restlessness. I'm getting ready to do a conference in the fall. I'm nervous about it. That's not going to go away. How do I live within it and still be an expert in ADHD and treat the clients and do everything that I do?
With a persistent or just like a state of anxiety or a little bit of...
So I have to have resilience. I have to have some strength of flexibility that I don't get... I go out of balance, but I don't get completely thrown out of balance.
Kind of, when I think of this, I think of 2 things. First, I think of, I went on a bike ride before we met today.
Right.
And I thought of this hill, a long hill, and I need to have resilience to get up to the top of that hill.
Right.
My legs start burning, and I'm like, these legs are going to burn.
Correct.
I'm still going up this hill.
Right. And in fact, it's your body's natural reaction that they're burning for good reason.
Because it's hard.
And it tells you that your muscles are working and it's producing certain acids and other things. Okay.
And when you have a big conference coming up, and when you need to prepare for that, and you think about wanting to help folks and provide value to a lot of people's lives and to show up in a way that's in alignment with your values and your integrity.
And I want to teach people things.
Your leg's going to burn.
Right. And so it's not going to go away. And so knowing that and having the resilience, so the stick-to-itiveness, those kind of things. And when you talk about resilience, though, Phil, we can get resilience from a sense of fear, from a sense of forcing ourselves into something, kind of an adrenal response of things. It's not real good for us to drop into that space that I have to force myself into a pocket.
Forcing yourself into...
having to do something.
Oh, okay? Yeah.
Because that setting off that survival instinct to fight, flight, or freeze, or
you want to do it. You want to do it through a passion and excitement. Is this kind of like
awareness?
This is where the study or the research around stress, when in context, impacts its results on your body. Like, right. I'll explain that a little bit. Like, if you're on a roller coaster, that's stressful. You have the same kind of stress response when you're right. top of a roller coaster and you're going down, but your perception of that event is, yay,
correct.
Woo! But if you take that same stress and put it in the context of, say, I don't know, someone robbing you or
right.
this other thing, it's very stressful. That can actually shut down parts of your body correct. That are really right. important for
correct.
for survival.
Right. And so you've got eustress on the roller coaster. You have distress on a fear cycle. So when you're in resilience, a lot of resilience is about consciousness. Where am I? What am I going through? My legs are burning. I know that's a part of this. The top of the hill will pass.
The stories you tell yourself about yes, your experience.
Which comes down to relationship with yourself.
And is that in the resource area? Is that where yes. we start to kind of yes, transition to resourcing?
Yes. And so the transition to resourcing starts with the relationship with self. And if you look at adult ADHD and the stress and everything that spins off of it, the vast majority of people with ADHD, the resource or the relationship with themselves, I'm sorry, it just sucks, or it's difficult, or it's constantly a berating, or it's constantly trying to look outside of themselves for help. And someone help me fix this because whatever I've done isn't working.
So I've heard negative self-talk.
Yes.
I heard external referencing.
Yes.
And
someone else fix it for me. It's a fix-it syndrome.
Some kind of like the world's
Nirvana, magic bullet, someone give me something to make this go away. Well, it's not going away.
I want that.
Well, we want it. But the reality is that's a pie in the sky, so to speak.
Yeah, you've got to do it yourself.
Everyone, right.
You got to wake up. You got to
right.
put your pants on.
But if you look at the wanting it from a resource point of view, that becomes what? Visioning.
Yeah.
I'm going to see where I'm going, and I'm going to focus on that future.
Right.
And I'm going to know that there is a growth period in there that is, quote unquote, hard.
That's failure.
Yes.
That's the Phails. You're saying setting goals and then visualizing. I did an interview with this bodybuilder, and the second one we did where we did the follow-up, a lot of it was mindset and setting goals. And we like paired the goals with an emotion and we made the goals just like, it was like visualization techniques.
Correct. And those things work. And they work, guess what? When you're connected to yourself and your brain's in balance and you're operating in a way that's meaningful for your mind, body, and spirit.
Yeah.
Okay? When you're scared and constantly shut down and don't know who you are and you're afraid to find out who you are because you've always failed, you're in a position where you're locked in your own sense of self. It's horrible. It's really sad to see people locked in themselves and not know how to get out.
When you're locked in yourself, you're not here now. You're not in the present moment meeting it with, I don't know, excitement.
No, because you're trying to analyze it and run away from it and control it and do all the things that are defense mechanisms in the brain, but you're not present to it.
You're in the past, you're in the future.
And what's so sad is that you miss the connectivity and the goodness that comes from that moment.
Yeah.
You know, the pleasure of the roller coaster, the pleasure of your legs burning going uphill, knowing that it's going to be over.
Yeah.
You know, but you miss it.
Well, you can have a relationship with that sensation of, I'm getting stronger.
Absolutely.
I'm getting stronger through this experience.
Correct.
And then it's a part of a process of growth and building.
Right. And so as my training coach was telling me here last week, it's the courage to be uncomfortable.